Jason Bourne was the tip of the iceberg.
It's Aaron Cross. We have never seen evaluations like this. He's Treadstone without the inconsistency.
I've never met anybody in the program.
So how many of us are there?
You ask too many questions.
Here's a question. How would you like this blog if I wasn't in it? Now, don't all rush to say we'd like it a lot more seriously. If you came to Kermode Uncut and it wasn't Kermode, it was somebody else. Say I was off, I didn't want to do it anymore, somebody else was in the chair. Maybe you'd like it better. I'm asking simply because there's a new Bourne movie coming out, The Bourne Legacy. One of the stars of it, Edward Norton, is on the Radio 5 live show that I do. This week it's co-presented with Al Murray, and Al Murray has been speaking to Edward Norton about The Bourne Legacy. See, the reason it's called The Bourne Legacy is because Bourne's not in it. This time, rather than having Matt Damon, we have Jeremy Renner as another agent who's not Bourne. He's part of another program that's not the same program that Bourne was involved in, but is similar, and somehow the stories intertwine, but Bourne isn't in it. Now, Tony Gilroy, who was the writer of the previous Bourne movies, now the director, has this to say on the subject. He says, if you think of the first three films as Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, then we're showing you Elsinore. It's a good line, but does it hold water? Now, if you're as old as I am, you'll remember Blake 7, the TV show, which was Avon's 4 for most of its run. Blake was long gone after the beginning. And then you think of movies like Men in Black 3, in which essentially Tommy Lee Jones isn't in it. They've got in somebody else because Tommy Lee Jones maybe didn't want to do it, maybe he's too old, so they have a time loop. They get a younger Tommy Lee Jones. Now this is a very regular movie occurrence. Think of Butch and Sundance, the early years. We can't get those two stars back, but let's get other people being them younger. Or think of Dumb and Dumberer. The simple idea, let's do when they first met up, you know, the stuff before Dumb and Dumber. But there are much more outlandish versions of trying to keep a franchise going even when the star is gone. There's a lovely series of TV movies starring George Lazenby. Now, George Lazenby is an interesting guy because he was a Bond when Sean Connery wasn't Bond. See, Bond was originally Sean Connery, then it was George Lazenby, then it was Sean Connery again, then it was Roger Moore. Then it was Timothy Dalton, but Sean Connery came back a little bit, and now it's Daniel Craig. They don't mind, you just think it's Bond, we'll just get somebody else to do it. But George Lazenby's finest hour is in a series of Emmanuel TV movies, which take place with George Lazenby's character meeting Sylvia Christel on a plane, and Sylvia Christel explaining to George Lazenby how she's learnt to astrally project into the body of a younger woman in order to have the further adventures of Emmanuel. No, I'm not buying it either. And then, of course, there's all the Friday the 13th movies. You know, one of the best lines from Scream, who was the killer in Friday the 13th? Not Jason Voorhees. Jason Voorhees is long gone, Jason Voorhees' mum. And then after that, a succession of people, because Jason kept being resurrected and reinvented. Same with Halloween. My question to you, therefore, is this. What's the most audacious example of a franchise with a named hero or heroine who's not in it?
Okay, let's go.